maximizing benefits, tips for a successful VA IRRRL refinance in 2024. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Jeff Trevarthen here, Jeff the Mortgage Pro. Thanks so much for watching. This is one of my favorite loans to do. I think that I'm going to be able to do a lot of them and help a lot of people in 2024, but here's the guide for all these things so you know exactly what's going on. I have some crazy data that I saw from the Veterans Affairs website that I thought I'd share with you first here. So according to the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, a total of 831,834 VA IRRRLs were performed in 2021. Now, in 2023 is on pace for a little less than 8,000 total. So 831,000 to a little bit less than 8,000 VA IRRRLs in a matter of 2 years. Obviously, the data makes sense because interest rates have gone up. They haven't gone down over the last 18 months. So for the most part, I get and I agree with the data. But what that means is that if you were someone who purchased a home with a VA loan in July of 2022 all the way through December of 2023, you should probably be in a good position in 2024 to be able to do a VA IRRRL refinance. So let's go through all the different specifics of this and talk about why this is one of the greatest loans out there. Number one, I get to help veterans with their home financing. And number two, you get to lower your interest rate and lower your payment with very, very little amount of paperwork to be able to do these types of loans. They're really easy to do, okay? So this is also known as a VA rate and term refinance is kind of like how a lot of people call it, but it's also called a VA IRRRL, IRRRL, the Veterans Affairs Interest Rate Reduction Refinance Loan. Those are all the different R's that are associated with this type of thing. So if you qualify for one of these, here's the eligibility requirements. You need to currently have a VA-backed home loan. Hopefully that's a given. You have a VA loan to begin with. You can use the VA IRRRL refinance to be able to help you out with a lower payment. You plan to use the IRRRL to refinance that VA-backed home loan. So if you have another property that's in a conventional loan or an FHA loan or a jumbo loan or something else, you can't refinance that property with a VA IRRRL. You have to use the property that you have your VA loan on to be able to do the VA IRRRL. Okay. You have to be able to provide that you live in the home covered by the VA loan. So it has to be an owner-occupied property. If you bought a home years ago with a VA loan and then you had new orders to go move somewhere else, but you kept your home and you don't live there anymore, you can't do a VA IRRRL refinance loan. You have to actually live in the property. So that's one of the main stipulations of this. Make sure that you have owner occupancy of the property that you're trying to do the IRRRL refinance. Next thing is you have to have at least 210 days from the time you closed your transaction to begin with. So that's usually about 6 monthly payments. So you can start looking at right before that because you won't close until after that. So make sure that your loan is at least 210 days old. And then your interest rate has to drop at least 0.5 or 0.5% when you're converting from, your loan has to drop 0.5% if you're going from like a 30-year fixed to a 30-year fixed. Okay, it has to have that rule. Or you're converting from a ARM loan or a shorter fixed loan, like a 15-year fixed, to a longer term loan, like a 30-year fixed loan. It doesn't have to have that 0.5% interest rate reduction, but if you're converting to a longer term or a different, more stable term, like a 30-year fixed, then you can do the VA IRRRL refinance. Okay, so usually most people are in the situation where they have a 30-year fixed VA IRRRL VA loan and they want to refinance it. That's the case where we can do an IRRRL, but it has to drop by 0.5%. Okay. Here's some of the benefits of a VA IRRRL, okay, to be able to do this. It's very, very limited paperwork. All we need really is your certificate of eligibility, and that's something that we can pull for you. You don't even have to pull it yourself. So VA IRRRL just requires a certificate of eligibility for the most part. Maybe we might need a like a utility bill showing that you live in the property as your primary residence. But other than that, there's not going to be a lot for you to do in that sense. There's no income, no employment or credit verification required. There's very significantly less paperwork in that sense. We're going to do a credit check with your mortgage only. That's it. We don't look at anything else or any other obligations that you have, just the mortgage, just to make sure that you have the VA loan and you've made your payments on time on the VA loan. Okay. The benefit again is a lower interest rate. And, if you bought your house again between July of 2022 and December of 2023, you're most likely going to be wanting to look at this in 2024 to be able to lower your interest rate. There's no PMI required, just like your current VA loan right now. You don't have to get PMI on this VA IRRRL refinance. So don't worry about having to pay that on a monthly basis. Appraisal is not required to do a VA IRRRL, which is awesome again. So no cost there. Ability to finance with little to no equity. Okay. So we don't even really need to know what the value of your property is for the most part in order to be able to do a VA IRRRL. So hopefully it's stayed the same or gone up. And if that's the case, then we should have no problem doing this. And then there's very little closing costs. So, one of the big expenses you might have had to pay when you bought your property with the VA loan was the funding fee, somewhere around 2.5%, 3.5% sometimes. With the VA IRRRL, it's only 0.5%. So you're saving a lot of money there. They still have to charge you this fee. And the reason why they do this, again, just so you know, if you haven't watched my other videos, is just so that the VA can keep their funding going for future veterans to be able to take advantage of this benefit going forward. If you qualify for the funding fee to be waived, then it absolutely can be waived. And then a lot of times the fees or the closing costs can be rolled into the loan amount so that there's no cost to you out of pocket at closing. And that's a benefit of this, which I really like to do because, nobody likes to pay money to do a loan, right? Just remember, a low credit score will not disqualify you. So don't worry about if your credit is not on the best that it can possibly be. It may affect your interest rate a little bit, but you're not going to get disqualified from the VA IRRRL refinance. And remember, it's available to most veterans and active duty members of the armed forces from all branches, including the reserves and the National Guards. So if you're anybody that's in the military or associated with the military in the past, definitely is something you can look at if you have a VA loan to begin with. Okay. If you guys have any questions at all and you need me to do a VA loan for you, I'm happy to do this type of transaction. Again, I love helping veterans. This is kind of my way to give back because I did not serve in the military myself. And this is a way that I can help you out with my profession and what I do. And it's a really easy loan to do. And I'd love to be the one that helps you out. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Look forward to helping you out with a VA IRRRL in 2024. Have a good one. Bye.